When I was shopping at Dollar Tree, I spotted these candle holders and I immediately thought they looked like something that you would buy on Pottery Barn's website. And anytime I can find something at Dollar Tree that looks like Pottery Barn, I'm gonna pick it up. What I loved even more about it was that it came in 2 different sizes. So these candle holders I styled together. Now with the candles, this was even better. I was using some LED candles that I bought in the plus section at Dollar Tree. They came in a pack of 3, but I'm gonna put 2 of the candles in there, and I just love the way these look. If you guys can find these, I definitely think they're worth picking up. Now, the first time I did this project, I thought there's no way this is gonna work, but I'm here to tell you it does work if you wanna try this transfer technique. So I'm gonna show you how you can transfer an image to a candle. So you're gonna need any candle, but it needs to be a wax candle, not an LED candle. And then you need an image. I wanted to use a fall leaf, so I went on Etsy, found this collection of leaves, picked one that I liked, and that's what I'm gonna be printing for this project. So the first thing you want to do is print out your image in the size that you want to print it in. I feel like this is the first step that really helps you with your next step. Then you can figure out what you want to print your image on. So you could print it on fabric. I'm going to be printing it on tissue paper. Anything you want to use, that's the next step. So figure out what you want to print it on, and then you're going to cut it out so it's bigger than your image, but you want it to be smaller than your paper. So I'm gonna be using some white tissue paper. I cut it out and then I put it down to make sure it wasn't gonna be like hanging off the edge of my paper. Now the next step is to glue it down, and you want it to be stuck in place. So I flipped the tissue paper over, made sure I had glue on all 4 of the sides. Then I placed it on top of my image, making it as like flat as possible. I added another layer of glue around the entire edge. Set this aside, let your glue completely dry. Once the glue is dry, you're going to put it into your printer and you're going to print the image out the same way you just did on the paper. And it will print onto your tissue paper, which I think is so cool. And once you have it printed on there, you can cut it out and then put this image onto your candle. Do you guys remember when I used the napkins and my iron to adhere those to wax candles? It makes this amazing looking candle. Well, that's the same concept with transferring this image on. I cut out the tissue paper leaf and I'm gonna place it on my candle exactly where I want it to be. Then I had a little bit of parchment paper that I placed down on top of the candle. And then using my mini iron, I will link it for you down below, I heated that up and then I just ran it along the leaf. Honestly, just do it a few swipes. You don't have to do it very much. It really stays in place. Just do a few swipes on it until that wax candle is melted, and that's all you have to do. Then you have this image that's directly on your candle, and I'll show you how I styled it in my home. I'm constantly checking what the trends are in high-end decor, and one of the things I've been noticing is this marble look with more warm colors. So I'm seeing it on like Studio McGee's website or Crate and Barrel. They have these really cool warm looking marble pieces. And I don't know if you remember when I added this marble technique to my countertops. Now I did have a kit that I bought off of Amazon. I will link that marble kit for you down below, but I have had those countertops for years now and they still look absolutely amazing. But when I saw that marble technique, I thought, what if I tried marbling a vase in some of those warm tones? So that's how I did this next project. And I have to tell you, this was my favorite project to do. If you love to paint, you're gonna like this project. So I'm gonna be using one of the $5 vases from Dollar Tree. And because they used more warm colors, I didn't wanna use a white to spray paint it. So I went with Sand Dollar, which is this pretty kind of like ivory color. It's honestly one of my favorite spray paint colors. So I'm gonna spray 2 coats on there. I'm gonna start on the underside, spray a coat, and then I'll flip it over and spray another coat. I did go in and spray a 3rd coat on there just because I find that whenever I'm spray painting glass, it's a little bit more transparent. So doing those additional coats will just help it look better. Now, before you start doing the marble technique, you wanna let this dry completely. But it was a very hot day, so it was fine and it dried really well. Now I have a lot of paints in my craft room. So I went and found a sample paint that I felt like kind of mimicked that terracotta, caramel, copper color. It was like a mixture of all of those. I'm gonna be using this color in order to make that marble technique. You're gonna need a nice paintbrush that's thinner, and then you're also going to need a cup of water and some sort of sponge. So I'm gonna start by taking the paint. I'm gonna draw a line on in the shape of the veins in marble. The next thing you're gonna do is take your sponge and dip it into water, and then you're gonna start to dab the paint. Now, this first initial time, you're going to wanna really dab that paint because really we're wanting more of that outside layer. You can always come back in and add more paint. So I'm going to dab the paint. Then from there, I will typically add another vein through the middle and dab that just a little bit more. Really with marbling, doing layers makes it look more realistic. And you really sometimes need to take a step back and look at it and say, okay, does this look like marble? If you don't feel like it does, maybe you need to blend it more, or maybe you need to add like a thicker line to the center. So once you're happy with that area, you can go to the next area. And really with marbling, I think less is more. Don't put too many veins in there. Just do a few here and there. But I did that all around my vase, and it was so much fun to kind of create this look on there. I really think it turned out well. Some of the lines look better than others, but I styled it in my home. I just put an LED candle in the vase. Now for this next DIY, you're going to need a teacup. You may have this around your house, or you can find so many of these at the thrift store. So you're gonna need the teacup and the saucer. Once I cleaned up my teacup, I'm actually gonna place the cup part upside down. It's going to act as my base. And then I'm going to put E6000 around the base, and then I'll place the saucer on top. Now I wanted to make this into a candle base. So to do that, I picked up this white candle holder that they had at Dollar Tree. And I just want to use the top part. So I'm going to use my saw to saw off that top base. Now, this is gonna take a little bit of work. I kind of sawed it, turned it a little bit, sawed it some more. And sometimes these will just snap right off. So I kind of bent it back and forth to see if I could snap it off. But eventually I was able to get that top piece off. Now with that top piece, I wanted it to be gold. So I'm going to be adding rub and buff to it. So just using my foam brush, I will add rub and buff to the inside and outside of that little piece. I let that dry. I'm gonna add a generous amount of E6000 to the base, and I'll place it in the center of my saucer. Let this dry overnight before you try putting a candle in. You can always like place your candle in and make sure it's going to stand up correctly, but let it dry. Otherwise, it's just gonna topple over if it's not completely dry. The next day, you can add in any candle. I'm adding in this gorgeous blue one, but I just feel like this is a unique and different candle holder idea. Hey guys, I'm Liz and you're watching my second DIY channel where I post daily DIY videos. You may be familiar with my main channel, Liz Fenwick DIY, but I'm glad that you found me over here on my second channel. Make sure that you're subscribed so you just get notified every day when I post our daily DIY video.